Hello, everyone, and welcome to the We Will Listen podcast. Today we have Asmi Anand as our guest here. Hi, Asmi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, I'm Asmi. I'm 15 and I'm just here to talk about mental health and LGBT stuff.
Yeah. So, Asmi, I'll start with the basic question that I start with everyone, and I feel that this is the most important question. What do you feel about mental health awareness around you? Do you think that it's enough? And do you think that it should be there? And if it should, how much?
Yeah, I do not think it is enough. The only person who has talked to me about mental health is like my internet friends. Like in real life, it is considered as such a stigma. Like you know, whenever we talk about like I'm not feeling good, I don't like this, and they're like, no, it's just one day, it's just one day, and depression is taken with such lightness. Like
Yeah,
they
exactly.
just
Yeah.
like if even if they're just sad for like a day, they'll be like, um, I'm depressed. This is so depressing and like shit like that, and just that just um, decreases its complicity.
Yeah, of course, and that's the point I have made many times, and I've told everybody that the stigma is there because people are very uncomfortable talking about it. सबको बहुत डर सा रहता है इसके बारे में बात करने में क्योंकि उनको लगता है ये उदास है. आई डोंट नो हाउ टू रिस्पॉन्ड टू दिस. हाउ एम आई सपोज टू रिस्पॉन्ड टू दिस. मतलब अगर कोई मेरे को आके बताता है कि मैं बुरा फील कर रहा हूँ, एंड दैट इज वाई हमने इस इनिशिएटिव को वी विल लिसन नाम दिया. क्योंकि when someone is coming up to you to vent their feelings out, अगर कोई आपके पास आ रहा है और आपको आके बता रहा है कि हाँ यार हम ऐसा फील कर रहे हैं, what you need to do is you need to listen. You don't always need to give advice. And that is why we started this initiative and we said ki we will listen. If you have something, if you want to vent your feelings out, we will listen. We'll try to give you some advice. We'll not try to impose them. We'll not belittle your emotions. We'll not oversize them. We'll just listen and try to give you the best we can, and that is how we can go ahead with mental health awareness and mental health well-being. So enough about mental health. Let's get to the real stuff that we are here to talk about. So, we both live in India, and recently, around a year ago, a year and a half ago, Article 370 got legalized in India, and some sections of it were removed, and the LGBTQ community got some of the rights in India. And still, even though legally the help is there, but it's not so much acceptable socially. people do
Yeah.
not People are not accepting of LGBTQ plus community, and the most common stigma and the stereotype against them is that it's just a phase and it's a mental health issue. It's a mental health disorder. People are mentally ill if they think that they like someone of their same gender, or if they belong to another gender. So what are your views about that, and what do you think we can do to prevent it?
Same sex, like these sexualities are not exactly mental problems. They're just uh, an expression of the feelings from within. Like if you are attracted to someone, even if it's of the opposite gender, that does not mean that you're mentally ill. So it's like the same case. It's the exact same feeling, but you do not feel attraction to like just the opposite gender or like similar gender. So it's not a mental health issue, it's just the lack of awareness. In even the Bollywood movies, the way LGBT characters are portrayed, they're only used as like a punchline or something. So that's where it comes from.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem. it harms both of the both problems. It adds to two problems. The first problem is the stereotype against the LGBTQ community, and the second one being mental health being stigmatized itself. If natural
Yeah.
thing like I guess the American Medical Association, I'm not sure if it's the right acronym, if it's the right name for it, but many medical associations have specifically said that being attracted to the same sex is not a mental disorder. They have been approved by many accredited mental health not mental health organization, basically medical organization. It's been approved that this is not a mental health problem. But still, what people do is, if things that are so natural, being homosexual, let's just take one portion of the LGBTQ community, being homosexual, you're a homosexual, if that is very normal, and if something so normal as being homosexual can be termed as being mentally ill, or
Yeah.
being termed that it's just a phase and you're trying to explore yourself, what happens is that you are stigmatizing, first of all, mental health, because it's a natural thing, and you're saying that it's a mental sickness. You are undermining actual mental sicknesses like anxiety, depression, PTSD, ADHD. There are so many mental health disorders, and you are undermining their value. And something that is not even a mental health disorder, you are stereotyping and you are stigmatizing. What it does is that it actually hurts the LGBTQ community, because, like, although it should not be offensive that if someone says that you are mentally ill, because there's nothing to take offense about it, because it's natural. People get mentally ill, as do people get physically ill. मैं अगर
Yeah.
एक मेरे को नॉर्मल बुखार हो रहा है एंड अगर मेरे को डिप्रेशन हो रहा है, बोथ आर वेरी सीरियस प्रॉब्लम्स, एंड बोथ आर नेचुरल
Exactly.
प्रॉब्लम्स, सबको हो सकती हैं. बट अगर आप एक स्पेसिफिकली उसको एक टारगेटेड मैनर में एक कम्युनिटी की तरफ प्रेजेंट करते हो, तो उस कम्युनिटी को कितना हार्म होता है. व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट दिस, कि कितना हार्म हो सकता है लोगों को जस्ट बिकॉज स्टिग्मेटाइजिंग मेंटल हेल्थ टू LGBTQ कम्युनिटी.
See, the first thing is the only thing queer people and like being queer and being mentally ill have in common is we did not choose it. Like they did not choose from there. It's just natural. You cannot like say that it's our fault because it isn't. It's just the way they were born. So it's like when someone calls you mentally ill, or like when you're with your friends and someone just says that I'm gay or shit like that, and there is another person who is actually depressed. So everyone will start making up the one who just came out by saying that he is mentally ill and stuff, and the depressed one will just feel like कि इसको इतना बोल रहे हैं मैं हमारा मेरा क्या होगा. So
एग्जैक्टली, दैट्स द पॉइंट. वो स्टिग्मेटाइज कर देते हैं, एंड उससे से लेस एंड लेस पीपल, मोर पीपल आर स्केयर्ड ऑफ कमिंग आउट, एंड
yeah,
कम्युनिटी स्टिग्मेटाइज हो जाती है. The LGBTQ community have been in hiding in India for so long, for so long. Like, it's been there forever. Like, being homosexual, it is natural and it's been there forever, but it's been legalized just so recently. People have been hiding forever. Why? Because of the social stigma of it. People taming it, mental health. First of all, the thing is that people stigmatize mental health. पागल है,
yeah,
बोल देते हैं पागल है, या फिर there are many words which I don't want to say here because it's a mental health page, that ये पागल है, इसका दिमाग खराब है, इसकी स्क्रू ढीले है. These terms are used, and we don't realize their impact on society itself,
yeah,
but they make a huge impact, and it really affects the community, the people we are targeting it towards. And if those people for whom it's natural what is happening, अगर उन लोगों के लिए जिनके लिए नेचुरल, उनकी नेचर, उनकी सेक्सुअलिटी, उनकी एग्जिस्टेंस का एक पार्ट Your sexuality is a part of your existence. It's not completely your existence, and it's not something that is insignificant. It's a part of your existence. If you are neglecting a part of their existence as something stupid and something that cannot be, that cannot be accepted in society, it really makes it difficult for the people.
Yeah, well, I heard one of my favorite YouTubers, Sam Collins. He said, I'm a criminal in 78 countries, which is so sad to think about. Like, imagine not being able to roam around somewhere or like some place that you want to go to, but you cannot go because of your sexuality or like gender identity.
Exactly, that's so weird. That is so weird. Like,
Exactly.
you are tamed a criminal, you are named a criminal just because of what your sexual preference is. And
Exactly.
it's the, and I get it. Some countries that are not very developed, they, in fact, those countries which, make it illegal for the existence of gays and all the LGBTQ community, they do it because of the societal pressure they have. See, in modern day, most of the governments are by the people, for the people, of the people.
Yeah.
And what is the people? The people are the society. The society is the people. And if the society is not accepting, so will not be the governments.
Exactly. Yeah, that quote was from Abraham Lincoln, right? Even his country, USA, they do not have transgender rights. Like transgender people cannot join military, or like they have very minimal rights which keep changing, and like it is very sad to think about that the person who said that quote meant like I don't know, rights for everyone, and it's his own country that it's not happening in.
Yeah, you're stripping off someone of their human rights, naming them a criminal, labeling them a criminal just because of what their sexuality. It's really messed up. It is, and I get it. I get it. It's wrong. Now, to come on a legal and an ethical conundrum, the American Association for Psychology, the American Psychiatric Association, I'm sorry, has it's one of the most recognized psychiatric associations in the world. It has labeled gender dysphoria as a mental disorder. And let me just define gender dysphoria for our listeners who don't know about it. Gender dysphoria, you know what? It'll be better if you define it, because I believe you are more knowledgeable on this matter than I am.
I'm not like I'm not the best person, but yeah, I can do it. Like all I've learned is from YouTube and stuff, like from actual trans people. So that's on their experiences, not mine. So gender dysphoria is the feeling of not being able to fit into your own gender, like not the gender roles, but the gender identity. Like if a guy, like I don't know how to use. Yeah, if a person is born or designated a female but does not feel comfortable about it and is not like very feminine, I guess, is not it. I'm not saying that not being feminine makes you a guy. I'm just saying that it's just part of it. Like they have a lot of emotional and like changes everything like they not feel comfortable in their own skin because it's different. I guess
So,
they do not feel.
in a layman's term, a person who is not comfortable with the gender that is assigned to them at birth by reference of their genitalia, right?
Yeah, like the sex or like the DNA.
Yeah, exactly. If someone who is born with, for example, say female genitalia, and is not comfortable being called a female, is not comfortable being a female, and feels like he wants to be a male, and he chooses to transition from a female to a male later on in their life. So
Yeah,
that is the feeling of gender dysphoria, when you feel that you are in the wrong sex. Your body does not align with your mental gender preference. Right. So this
exactly.
is
Yeah.
gender dysphoria for everybody. Now coming to the conundrum, that was that the American Psychiatric Association has tamed gender dysphoria to be a mental disorder. And most mental disorders have mental treatment, whereas some states in America only have made it legal, and I guess some other countries have also made it legal to have sex change surgeries and other forms of surgical and physical changes to be made for a person who suffers from gender dysphoria, not suffers, who has gender dysphoria. So do you think that if we consider it a mental disorder, gender dysphoria, if it is a mental disorder, should a person be making physical changes to their body, or should there be some sort of a mental treatment that should be a therapy, or any other forms of which we treat other mental disorders? What do you think
There is therapy involved in transition. So, like, gender dysphoria, the feeling starts like in even children, like at the age of 5 or 6, they just feel like they do not belong in their gender, and it starts that early. So no one can say that we are doing it for attention. 5 साल का बच्चा उसको क्या पता है? So they so once you're like a teenager, like 13 or 14, you just tell your parents about how you're feeling. If they're supportive and they do get you, like they do get you therapy, and like they you can just talk to your gender, it's called gender therapy, I think. I do not remember the name, but they try to treat your dysphoria, they try to figure out what's going on. And even if like during that therapy series, you can just try to transition without any medical aids, like a haircut or wardrobe change, which are all like reversible. No, just physical, not like medical changes to your body, like genitalia or anything, or hormones or thing like that. Just like a wardrobe change or things like that. And when the it's at the like you cannot take hormones before the age of 18, and they cost a lot of money, so not everyone is just going to do it for attention or just because they're feeling it. They have to go through a lot of doctors, not one, not like a lot of doctors, just so to get those hormones, and they have to work, like they have to just give everything up just to focus on that one thing. So it's not like it's just given to them. They're just like, I don't feel good about my gender, and that's not how it works. They have a whole process to go through.
Okay, so even if there is a process to go through, uh, I'll circle around to the same question there is, that if it is a mental disorder, it is a mental disorder, and if even after therapy you have specifically be labeled that you do have gender dysphoria, then only you can go for actual non-reversible changes like hormone therapy and sex change surgeries,
Yeah.
and addition of secondary sexual characters, and plastic surgeries for the face and everything. do you think that even if a person who does have medical uh, gender dysphoria, which is a mental disorder, should they be making those physical changes even after they have been tamed having a mental disorder?
See, gender dysphoria never goes away. Like, you will be on hormones for like 20 years and it will still feel like it's day one. Because everyone around you keeps telling you that you're not the gender that you prefer to be. Like, you actually are, but not were not designated at birth, assigned it at birth, and everyone is telling you that. So each day feels like a whole lifetime. That's my point. And I forgot what I was
Yeah, I get it. I get the point that it's, but still, if it's been named a mental disorder, it's a disorder, it's not named a chronic disease. So, chronic diseases don't go away. Whereas if there
Yeah.
is a disorder, like depression is a mental health disorder, fine. So if you have depression, you cannot stay depressed forever, right? You cannot stay depressed forever. And even if it takes years and years to get over depression, you will not ask someone to go, for example, I'll put you in a hypothetical situation. Okay, I'll run you through a hypothetical. Can I run you through a hypothetical?
Yeah,
I
sure.
The Marvel fans got the reference. So yeah, I was going through that. For example, I have depression, and I have been suffering for depression for about 3 years now. I have been to therapy, and I have done a lot of effort to try to cure my depression. But now I am under the belief that my depression is chronic, and if it's chronic, it's going to stay for my whole life. It's going to stay with me for my whole life. I am going to be depressed my whole life. And now I feel that, like, I cannot treat it mentally, my depression. And now I need to physically fix this depression. And I decide to suicide. Right? I decide to suicide. So I believe most of our viewers in this situation will agree that suicide is not the right option.
Yeah.
But if you put this in the same discussion we were having, that if a person who believes that they have gender dysphoria and have been having it for years and years, is it still ethical? Is it still ethical? Is it still moral? Is it still right to make physical changes, like the person in the depression phase did a suicide to fix the problem instead of treating it? Shouldn't the person going through gender dysphoria try to go through therapy or go through some process instead of fixing it by making permanent changes to their bodies?
Those changes are not actually permanent. You can reverse them. They
No,
are like,
if someone, if I believe in Arkansas in America, I'm not 100% sure about it, but they have allowed hormone therapy for children. Like, you can use puberty blockers for
yeah,
children, and if a child says that he or she is not comfortable with their gender identity assigned to them, and they want to transition, so parents are allowed to give their children puberty blockers and hormone therapy, so that children who want to identify as non-binary, or children who want to identify with the other gender, opposite gender that they are of, what they can do is that they can use puberty blockers and make changes. And since child did not go through puberty in the years that the child has to go through puberty, those changes are permanent. Also, I believe sex change surgeries and breast implants trans women make, and plastic surgeries are to some extent permanent. So
yeah.
they are kind of physical, actual fixing the problem changes. So do you think they are right?
See, like most trans people also suffer from like they do actually suffer from mental illnesses that are not gender dysphoria. So like literally all of the trans creators I know suffer from something, anxiety, depression, or something. I do not know if it was because of being trans or it was just, but it might have played a role. So they have that going on, and like they will definitely do something about the gender dysphoria, as they can do it. Like uh, it takes a lot. Like just not it's not that easy. They have to give, like they have to come out to like 700 people, relatives, and they are all like, we do not accept this, and then parents are like, no, you're not, you're just doing it for like, and then friends. So there is a very like lack of support. So even if someone is trans and like decides that they want to go for therapy, and if they do not have someone financially supporting them, they cannot do it. So I think that hormone changes and puberty blockers can be important sometimes, but like they are to be very they like the doctors need to be very careful, because that's like they are the ones who it all depends upon.
So it should be the doctor who should completely decide whether the child should go through hormone therapy and puberty blockers or not.
Yeah, just the child and the doctor. Like, they're not just one doctor. They're like
Multiple.
five
I get it.
different
There's
doctors,
a lot
and
of
if
process. You have to go through a psychiatrist, get your gender dysphoria
yeah,
certificate, and then you have to go through, get some other certificates and signatures that you can allow these puberty blockers and everything and stuff. I get it.
there is a lot.
The point being that there should be a due process so that children who are actually going through a phase don't end up making permanent changes which they regret later in life. But
Yeah.
also,
See if
yeah, go ahead.
see if five medical professionals who have spent their whole life studying like gender identities, five different, all of them say that this person has gender dysphoria and it can be fixed through puberty blockers or therapy or things like that. So why should that person not go for it?
I mean,
Like trust the professionals.
I do respect that you believe that, but I'm still not convinced because children, I don't believe like children who have not gone through puberty yet are not mature enough. Like there was a very stereotyping term only. It was called being a tomboy. Girls are called tomboys. Why? Because they have some masculine characteristics, like they either play sports or they have a lot of guy friends. They just named tomboy. Ye to tomboy hai. That's very common in India. I have seen that a lot in India. Ki ye to
Yeah,
tomboy
I've seen myself.
hai. Yeah, so it's very common tomboy hai. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to be of the other gender to do the stuff that is gender
Yeah,
stereo that is gender stereotype. Like a girl can play sports, you can play
yeah,
sports even while being a girl. You don't need to transition into a man to play sports. But that difference is not very clear to a 5-year old or even a 10-year old. It's
yeah,
not clear to them because they are children, and what they see is that they get bullied because they are not assigned they are not adhering to the gender stereotypes, and then they believe that yes, I am born in the wrong body, I am born in the wrong gender, and I need to be of other gender. And that is where the problem is, that children are not able to make right decisions at such a young age. someone who has gone through puberty, someone who is even, I would say even 16, I'm not even saying that he or she needs to be an adult. Even if someone who is 15 or 16 who is mature enough can make those decisions, but a 10-year-old child whose only parents and doctors are deciding what the child wants, and what if the child later on in life does not want it? That is why
See,
I really, but that's our different opinions. Let's not circle around this topic only. It's a mental health podcast after all. Let's
yeah,
move
it's
ahead.
just the point of it all is abolish gender, eh, like respect gender identities, but abolish gender roles. So
Exactly.
like girls can play sports, and that's like their gender. It's not about their gender identity. It's just roles
Gender role.
that the society has somehow declared feminine or masculine. Nobody actually decided it.
Nobody actually decided. Exactly. It's not decided. It's just society made it for the sake of
Like,
convenience. Generalizations in general, generalizations are for the sake of convenience. We make generalizations about everything for the sake of convenience. Like everybody generalizes a lot of stuff, and I'll not speak about generalizing stuff because it'll going to cause a lot of
a
uproar.
whole other thing, yeah.
Yeah, let's not go away from that. Okay. One more thing I wanted to talk to you about: gender pronouns. I
Yeah,
am not very knowledgeable about on this topic, so I'm going to need your help to carry this conversation forward. But
cool.
people, as you stated, that some people do reversible changes like a haircut or a wardrobe change or very simple,
Pronouns.
changes. I'm so sorry. Very simple changes. So people who go through these simple changes can revert back, and since they have the exact same genitalia they had, and they have the exact same body structure and everything else, some people refrain from calling them of their preferred pronouns, right? Also, there comes a legal conundrum here, that is it a violation of the other person's freedom of speech? Many people make this argument that if I am being forced to call you by your preferred pronoun, then it's an imposition. It's an imposition on me, and it's a violation. It's a violation of my freedom of speech. So, what do you have to say about this?
Someone else's pronouns are none of your business. They are not about you. They're just about them. Like whoever they are, whoever they choose to be called, or if you do not want to respect them, do not talk to them. Go away. Nobody's forcing you to talk to them.
No, what
Like
if,
just
see, let's take a situation, right? Let's take a situation. For example, both of us are in a office. We are working together. We are co-workers. And you want to be addressed by the pronouns. Let's say he, him. You want to be addressed by the pronouns he, him, and I need to talk to you because we are co-workers, because we have to get some work done. We are co-workers, but I refuse to call you he, him. I call you by female pronouns she, her. And if you ask me that call me by he, him, I refuse that, and I tell you that it's a violation of my freedom of speech if you ask me to call you by these pronouns. But if I call you by the pronouns I wish to ask you, it's offending you. So what's right here? What's wrong here, according to you?
see, obviously, pronouns are like about yourself. Like what my pronouns are, it's none of anyone else's business. It does not concern you. You just have to like either just respect them or just go away and just shut up about it. There is nothing you can do. Like you telling me to stop calling myself him would not change anything.
No, I'm not
Like it's
in this situation only. I just want to,
yeah, I
get
am
an
talking
idea
about
of
the
it
situation only.
through the situation. I'm not
Yeah.
asking you that you identify with she, her, but I say that I don't care whatever anybody else calls you. I will call you by she, her, and I will not call you by he, him. Right? So, and you wish to be addressed as he, him. But I say that I don't care about whatever everybody else says, but I will call you she, her. I will address you by she, her. So, if you say that I am not allowed to call you she, her, and I am supposed to call you he, him, I say it's a violation of my right. So, I'm asking what is the right play here in this exact situation? What if you were the boss? How would you solve this?
I would obviously tell that person who's not respecting, like, first of all, in India, we do not have that system of like, it's just the lack of awareness. The object, like the lack of, their HR human resources would definitely be into this, but not in India because nobody cares about gender identity. They all just like nobody actually cares about pronouns. I did put my pronouns in my bio, and I was started being labeled as a radical feminist, like shit like that, from people that I have never even talked to, and I even have my hair colored, so that's just another like point. Adding your pronouns to your bio is a part of like creating awareness for the people who actually do identify as something that did not look like get it, like if
Right.
I yeah like I have a few friends, real life friends, who do not identify as the like their designated gender, they them, or like he him, or things like that, but they do not get called that. Like they are just, it's all on social media. You cannot just place a tag on yourself that said my pronouns are this. See, to help this and like just the only thing that can be done is create awareness and just stop like uh, stop generalizing people for just putting their pronouns in their bio. It's not a big deal. I'm
Exactly.
just trying.
I said that generalizations are all for the sake of convenience.
Yeah, but it does not like
Help
help
anyone.
inconvenience. Yeah.
No, it is to avoid inconvenience. Like you can't, you can't talk to everybody for a long time and then judge them that whether they are feminazi or whether they are genuinely concerned about LGBTQ plus rights, or whether they are a radical right. Okay, let's not go left, right. A radical, whatever it is, whatever the opposite side is. I'm not going to state them anything. I don't want to demean them, neither do I want to glorify them. So, the point being that it's easier for us to generalize if if you write she, her in your bio, it's very easy for me to judge that, oh, she's a feminazi. It's very easy for me to judge. Seriously, you've written it in your bio. I feel like, okay, if somebody has written this in their bio, because the statistics are there. But even if the statistics are there, we are individuals, and every generalization we make is for the sake of convenience and will harm at least one person, and it is
Yeah.
not right. So,
I
yeah,
actually just put my pronouns in my bio after seeing a like post that it is just to help trans people and non-binary people, because like if they are the only ones who put their pronouns in the bio, it just seems weird. I just wanted to show my support in some way. But in the end, I just kept on being called a radical feminist in every like my friends told me that he thinks it's that. Like they would just talk to someone about me, and that person was like, "Oh, ये वही colored बालों वाली feminist है ना?" Like, okay, bro, we have never talked, but thanks, I guess. But like, it's very weird.
Yeah, it's for the
We
sake,
don't
as I
know
told
each
you, it's for the
other.
sake of convenience. Generalizations are to avoid inconvenience and for the sake of convenience. So yes,
Yeah.
enough about generalizations. I think we have covered a lot of topics we had to. I think we have created a bit more awareness about LGBTQ plus rights and about mental health, of course. So thank you so much, Asmi, for sharing your information and your opinions about these very controversial yet very important topics. It was really nice to have you here. Any closing remarks?
One last thing, just respect people and just respect their gender identity or their pronouns. If you do not know someone's pronouns, use they them. It's not that difficult. Physics is more difficult than using they them pronouns, and we have to study that too. Like, it's not that difficult. They are my friend. They made a painting. They did things like, it's very easy. Just try and just don't label it like ये बहुत मुश्किल. Try it.
Yeah, of course. Okay, you can try. It's an effort, but I think so. It's an effort you should make if you're trying to talk to somebody, if you're trying to engage in a conversation with a friend, then it's an effort you should be willing to make. Chalo, it's
Yeah.
about the people and their opinions. I think that will be it for this podcast, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.